Hey guys, and welcome back to Hello, my name is Alex. I actually want to go through the psychology of the audience, and this is something that's not always in depth or looked into properly, but something I feel that it's quite strong, especially if you're a content creator, business owner as well, or any path you want to take, because let's face it, your audience, your target people, the people you're trying to reach out to, the ones that come back to you, well, they matter, right? Our goal ultimately is try to provide interest, to educate, entertain our users, to give them value so they come out with a transformation experience so they can come back again. But how do you do that? Do you quite understand the audience feel? Well, yes, look at yourself first. Sometimes it's about taking a step back and go, what makes you watch someone else? What makes you walk into that business area? What makes you buy a certain product? What is it about it? Well, there are a lot of things that matter. Things for YouTube in this sense is clickbait, your thumbnail, your title, your hook. But when it comes to a product outside, it's the look, it's the appearance, it's the appeal, how much it costs, how much its value, where it is, its location. Right? If it's business, food, is it good? Does it taste great? Is it cheap? Is it affordable? Is it a place where friends and family go? Is it what I want to be at and where I want to be? Just these questions alone should be questions you should raise yourself on an everyday basis, because it actually builds principle. You actually start to realize the audience psychology, their views and perspectives. Let's look at it in more of a content creator's way. Let's have a look at what that looks like. When an audience watches the channel, you're into this particular person because he or she has something that they have to educate, share, or entertain you with, right? But they're into that. Now, let's pretend that you suddenly pivot into something else. If you pivot or suddenly into something else that you're into, then you've kind of lost that audience that was following you, that you built all that time, because this is the audience that goes, I love this type of material because that's what he or she is sharing. But now you pivot into something else, you might find a drop in your audience and your viewers very quickly, because you're now losing the people who fell in love with your work that you did in the first place. That's why a lot of people say to you, and a lot of gurus or godlike figures out there say to you, is that you should always niche down, and if you really want to do something else, have another channel. Build multiple channels focusing on multiple different things. Because this way, you're not losing the crowd that was in there in the first place. You're tackling this as a business style method, right? You're tackling this because you want to sell a digital product. You're tackling this because you want to be an online entrepreneur, not the online creator. Right? If that's what you want to do, then you need to approach it very differently. You can't do it the same way. And even as an online creator, you have to remember, pivoting can be a scary thing, but you have to do it right. There is a right and wrong way of doing things. And I feel strongly, if you are going to pivot, then do it on another channel. Just don't do it on the same one. You are risking losing that foundation, those people who followed and who loved you in the first place on the things you want to share. You're losing them. And that's money down the drain. Your audience is money down the drain. Your audience is one that gives you value in the first place because you're giving value to them, right? You're fulfilling a need that fixes a problem, and you're providing more services that you can provide because you have something to offer. You have something to offer them. And that's something really great. You should be happy about that. You should be inspired by that. You should know that you're achieving someone else's goal and dreams for them, making it happen for them. Be in the audience side for a moment, really think about their city. What makes you watch other people? Why do you follow them in the first place? And why do you stop following in the first place? Because you lost interest, right? They're not doing the same things they usually do. They're becoming different. And because they become different, it may not be your thing anymore. And so then you're going to drop out, and you may even forget them in the long run. And that's reality, because that's the human attention span. We're into certain things, but we have to be hooked into it. And if we're not hooked into it or enjoy the materials being shared out, you're going to stop watching. So the human psychology is that if you understand that fact, that there are things that we like and things we don't like, come on, if you don't even need to be a psychologist to know this, the human psyche is that we have an attention span that needs to be grasped. And there are things that everyone likes that's different to someone else. There are different pain points and things that we have to deal with that's different than somebody else. You have to meet those needs. If you start failing to meet those needs, you fail to achieve your ultimate goal, and your channel will fail with you. You don't want to do that, right? That's not your ultimate goal here. You are trying to build yourself as an influencer, as a brand, as a product, as a person, as a business. And that's how you should approach it. That's the means of really earning true wealth and ultimately passive income if you make a transformation package. Now, I say this a lot. Transformation is a big thing. It's a big seller on YouTube. This is what content creators do. They sell transformation packages. They package it and make this completely their method and way, because they cannot rely on ads alone. Ads are not enough to survive on. It's only the 1%er guys. Mr. Beast is in that 1%er. You're not up there. And you look at other people who failed and who dropped out, who you loved and you might have watched before, and they just can't keep up anymore because it's just too hard. I think Matt Pat from Game Theory, he dropped out not long ago, longer now, but he dropped out of his because he had 4 channels. He just experienced burnout. It's just these things happen to you guys, but he really hit a certain target group and very niched down in 4 areas. And he did it for a little while, and then he dropped out, and now he's given it to 4 different people to take on those videos, really niching down, because that's important. You're targeting an audience that matters to your area, and this has to be an extreme focus that you have to do, because that's how business works, guys. That's how business works. You can't diversify too much, because by doing so, you're not focusing on the one product. You're not focusing on the one product, you're not giving your all in for it. And you're going to find that even if you have your one product, it doesn't matter if it's a digital product, especially if it's a digital product, you're asking further questions about it. You're taking the next step. You're asking them, what more can I improve on? What haven't I not done? What you don't like about it? Even if it's like a scripted one where it's a PDF file, it happens to be more of a booklet type of version that transforms the user, you can just ask them what's going on here so you can improve it better. Do you feel that these sentences are too long? Do you want me to break it down further? Do you feel there should be more images because that will help describe it better? Do you feel there should be more links to go into other channels to show you how things work? What more can you do? You always need to try to improve your product if you're serious about what you're trying to do. And this is real product knowledge to be able to develop yourself even further, because that's what you want to do, right? You're trying to take the next step in your business journey. You're trying to take that next step, but how do you do that? You need to survey, you need to understand your consumer, you need to understand where they're coming from and what they want and their needs. And to achieve that, you've got to keep asking questions. It is completely free to ask questions. It's not expensive. Get out of your box and understand what the problems are. And if you don't know what your next product's going to be, well, the next product is the next problem that you need to deal with. And that problem you deal with brings more further success for you, right? Put promotion. You can put promotions on it. You can put little sell efforts. You can put little carrots on the hook by saying things like, you know what? If you buy into my product and you voice it out to me, then I'm going to be a subscriber on your channel, and I'll be another person that buys one of your products. You can put that as a little hook saying like, this is what I want to do. You can put little things to entice people to go on that, and that could be your thing that leads other people to go to your channel, because it doesn't hurt. You're trying to make a business. You're not lying to anybody here. You're saying what you're doing, and you're selling a digital product. You're selling a physical product. You're selling your services. But how do you do that? Really meet the consumer needs. You really have to understand their points, and you give them true value, and then they will give value back to you, because we live in a community and society where it's a give and take, right? Like I said this before, it's give and take. Your channel can't grow further if you can't meet those pain points. You don't want to be repetitive, but you don't want to keep in the old stuff. But you want to make sure that you are consistent with the material that you share, and you're not pivoting too much to something else that defers them for completely of what you're trying to do in the first place. Because that makes you unique in your area, right? You're trying to build income further. But the last thing you want to do, the final thing you want to do, and you don't want to do this, is to pivot too far away from your main objective, because that will hurt you. That will hurt you in the long run. It doesn't help anybody. You really want to look at what you're doing. So in this sense, again, like I said before, as a small content creator, you can start very early. And I said this before, and I'm going to say it over and over again, because I want to engrave this in your mind. It's not about subscribers, it's not about views, it's not about that. It's about selling your product, get it out there, and getting those high tier ticket users and consumers to really buy into what you're trying to achieve, because you don't only have to be a few steps ahead of someone. You don't need to be a guru. You don't need to be a godlike figure. You just need to be a few steps ahead of somebody, and you can really start pumping out, pretty much product guides, PDF files that really provides transformation periods to someone else, provide a really good service to a consumer. That is the most important thing, because I think what's very important that we forget at times is that being relatable, being in the person's shoes, how much are you willing to spend? These all matter, right, guys? Because if you can do that, it really shows your human side of you. You don't have to, even this, what I'm doing right now, I'm putting it all raw. This is unedited. This is completely raw material, and I'm saying it as I go and sharing my thoughts and feeling towards things, and really giving you that inside experience of what I'm going through and being real with myself here. right? If you can do that and really personalize yourself for every product you do, the audience, your users, your buyers will know that. They will feel that, they'll thank you for it, and they'll come back to you over and over and over again without a doubt, because that's how business works. The business model works on meeting a consumer need, okay? Anyway, I'll leave it like that for today. I hope that's been useful as always. Feel free to reach out. I do provide consultation and mentoring. That's my thing. And if you want to talk about other stuff, by all means, I'm happy to. If you want to network and you want to collab, I love that too. And always leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, whatever works, because it's you guys that allow me to keep on going. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Hi, my name is Alex. See you later now. Bye.